video until next week on this, but I put a link to this on Facebook, and I'm probably gonna put a link to this one on Facebook as well. And two or three or four people, I don't remember how many exactly, who actually looked at it. So I decided, well, since I'm gonna link this one to Facebook, I might, do a video to show people what the building actually looks like, and to tell people a little bit about it. And people can ask questions in the comments, and I'll get back to you in the next video, if there's any comments. Usually there's not. So here we go. So for those who have never seen this before, this building used to be a mountain. This whole area was pretty mountainy, kind of like over there. But I went and I started building this. Instead of, was going to build a cave here initially, and then I just kept going. So this building was initially going to be a cave, and it was a pretty good sized building. The fountain idea came from because the building actually had a fountain to begin with. Now this fountain, because water in here moves better when it's stair-like, so these basically are stairs. See, we can go in here and we can shut those off. Water isn't that hard to stop in Minecraft. So here we go. So those waters are stopped during this. I'll start them at the end. If you know which block started the water, it's not hard to stop the water once you know which block started it. The problem is that the rivers and stuff are started by multiple blocks. And maybe I'll cover that in another video. Okay, so this right here this has evolved around time. I'm not gonna go through and reenact it because it's thingy, but this is what the area looks like, where I float, where I start and stop the water. So we'll give the water a few minutes. This idea evolved over time, but this is the water in here is a little bit more difficult to stop. Okay. That evolved over time. I added the lava later, so this is lava. Lava doesn't work very well when it's, stationary, but when it's moving, it moves. And don't ask me where these frogs come from. I don't know. They just appeared one day. Usually I have goats up here. And in the last video I also thingy. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start here at the top, because I guess it's easier this way. But see, you can see that they're stair-like, and then it falls straight down. And then it falls in kind of a stair action. Now this block right here is these side fountains. These don't, when these fall, they don't fill this whole space. So this converts those side fountains to flow here, so I don't have to put in, because otherwise I'd have to come down here and put a block of water down here, start there. But these blocks right there make that possible, and then these flow down, and then flow down and into the basement, which we'll see later. So see, number 1, 2, 3, 4. So this right here should be the bottom. The blockhouse, I'm not exactly sure where it started exactly, but all this kind of block right here is called cobblestone in this game. And this cobblestone used to be dirt. Dirt. See, and dirt looks like this. This right here is dirt with grass on it. But these used to all be dirt. And I remember my grandsons saying that I had a mud house, but it was actually made of dirt. I liked the color at the time, and there wasn't a lot of blocks. But I learned over time that it wasn't a good thing. I had the Endermans, which is the bad guy in this game, kind of a warlocky creature. He kept stealing my blocks. I don't know that they can't steal these ones or not, but they're not in this game because the game has 3 modes that I know of. It has action. It has survival mode. It has an action mode, I guess, in case you want to play like there are a bunch of different things where these are creative. Now we're in creative because we're creating this building. So this right here was the first floor when the building started. And this is also where the water hits before it goes down. See, it comes down these holes all the way from that. That evolved over time too. And then this would be floor number 2. And this was also mud or dirt. And all the floors are pretty much identical because I built them when I built them, I made sure that I built through the floors. So the floors are there, but the floors were built after. So they were actually built on top of all that. And then these were kind of designed as some sort of rec room or big like gymnasium type area. When I had this in mind, I was going to build this into a wizard school like Harry Potter, but then I don't know, it kind of evolved over time. I'm not sure what it's going to be now. I was thinking maybe a wizarding school and for magic and something. I forgot the other thing I was going to add to it. But there's no doors because when I went back and put the cobblestone in there, which was probably about a month or so ago, maybe a little older, I didn't put the doors back in, so I have to go back through and figure out where the doors are going to be. I'm not doing them in this video. The hallways evolved over time, so initially it was this first hallway here or this hallway, then this hallway was created, and then these 2 side hallways were created. So there's that. And we go in and out of the fountain because there's no other access at this point. This is level 3. And there's not much difference between the floors. So basically they're both the same, so we're not going to go into great detail with them. And then this of course is the 4th floor, which is right underneath. You can tell because this one's the only one that's got a cobblestone ceiling. See, this is cobblestone, this is regular stone. All the passageways or hallways are all regular stone, where these were to signify the difference in the different area. Now this is made like this because that's where the fountain is, where the start of the fountain started. And like I said, the mountain had a fountain, so I wanted to keep that functionality. This is a attic area. I had access to it through the fountain, but I modified a bunch of stuff, and I don't know if I can still use it. So I gotta move it, and I just don't want to drill holes in here until I figure out where I'm going to move this to. But all the rest of the floors down past here are all normal. So So down, well, actually, I don't know if we can get into it. I don't know if we can get into these ones from here because of the fountains. But, so I made this back way. And this pretty much has access to up to about here. So this goes up to the 3rd floor. So it goes up to the 2nd floor and the 1st floor of the old building, and then this is all new. So this right here is considered the basement floor of the complex. These were like the last to get built. The upper stuff was built first. This was built last. See, this is where the fountains end up. This isn't where the fountains end up. They end up down here in this water. We'll explore that in a little later. But this evolved over time. The hallways were never here. I had to go through and build all these hallways. These hallways are dug down like 6 blocks. And when I say blocks, I literally mean blocks. So 1, 2, 3. There's 3 blocks. Give you an idea of the 6 blocks down in this hallway to remake them to be the size that I wanted. This, we'll see that a little later. But this is a hallway. It wasn't here before, but I put it here, you know, it's been in the last 3 months that I put this here. I don't know the exact time. Okay. Now we go up 1 level, because we have to go up 1 level to go down, which also has evolved over time. Because this hallway thing wasn't here before. Now this is another floor, the secondary floor. And see, all the hallways are pretty much the same because I built them the same way. I built them straight down and straight up. This is the infamous basement, which if you ever watch the Harry Potter series, it's where they store all their junk that they've confiscated or whatever over the years. This is that room, although it's not as big, but this is the room in theory. It's down at least 2 blocks, and all the walls are at least 2 blocks thick, and the ceilings are all 2 blocks thick. And that's basically what this room is. And there's going to be another door. This isn't the only door in and out of it, but so far this is the only active door. And when we were on the lower level, you saw some glass off to the side. That is the swimming pool or pool. Initially it was over here, and I kind of took it out and moved it and put it here. And a couple of weeks ago I put in some dolphins, but apparently they found their way out. And then this goes out to the main water, which is something I added not too long ago. And then this one is the one that goes to the bottom of the fountains, which I also added not too long ago. See, the water's not coming into the fountains right at the moment. This water just never stopped because it's always here. So that water flows into this water. Initially, when I built the building, it flowed into water, so, you know, it's kind of like the cycle has repeated. And then it flows into this chamber here, which I just recently flooded after the completion of it. These are the two fish that I had. Well, yeah, these are two of the fish that I had in the other part. They found their way here. This tunnel goes out to the water, which I recently finished. I'll explain those in a minute. And then this goes out to the water. So there's two ways to the water. And there's the front of the building. These fountains right here I recently created. This one I repurposed. There was something here, and I just repurposed it and shaped it. This one right here I actually made. One thing while it's raining is that you'll notice that it's raining down here. Only in the mountain areas, when you go in a higher elevation, does it snow. And those white little things on my building are actually snow. So when you get up here a piece, plus get closer to where the mountain is, wow, it's rain. There, now it turns to snow. Let's see, it's snow. That's what all those white little squares are on top. I didn't put them there. That's snow. So that's all snow. So it rains above the building because that's the whatchamacallit. This is all lava. Let's see, I don't have anything to demonstrate with lava. But this bucket right here is lava. This bucket is water. That's how you start and stop water and lava. These ones are the things I just recently did. And I recently put the water. The water isn't in here, but the water starts up there and ends here. I'm thinking about moving it to here. That area that we passed over, this is that tunnel. It's underneath us. So we pass over it. And then we pass into this one, which is connected. All of this was just recently added, except for this tunnel here. This tunnel's been here. I widened it to 2 blocks in diameter, except for the ceiling isn't 2 blocks because it can't be. And then this enters this area, and that enters the same area there, which enters this level here. And then if we're on this level, see, then you can see now we're on the same level as the swimming pool, fish tank, whatever you want to call it. And on this side you can see that it's glass. The double glass, by the way, not just single. Just in case I accidentally go like that, then it's double. You can't tell that because the two glasses are so close together. But there's 2 there. And if there's something swimming in there, I haven't added any lights, but you know, I'm still working on that project. And then this has evolved over time. This is that flooded room below us. This is the last room in the thingy. This building has evolved over time too. This was different, and then I moved it. But this is actually the foyer in front of the building. So this part right here that's stone, this is the continuation of that building that we were just in, and those underground chamber rooms that we were just in. So these are the doors going in and out of the main area, and then you come down here, and then this is where this all is. This, like I said, has all evolved over time. It hasn't always been like this. And then we come in here and we come out here. This used to be nothing but grass, but then I was going to build like a garden in here with flowers and trees and stuff. But I said, nah, I don't have any food type plants. So this right here is grain or wheat. These are carrots. This is called beetroot. And these are potatoes. There's also pumpkins, but they're kind of complicated. I might grow them in the back, and melons like watermelons. This was enclosed, but I figured, this thing gets a lot of rain, so we're just gonna leave this open to the rain, so that because it does rain a lot in this game. So this is the fountains. And like I said, they've evolved over time. They've not been like this the whole time. They've evolved. I mean, if you want to see more about those videos, you'd have to watch those videos to see how things evolved over time. But I figured the big thing is that you saw the building, you saw what it has become, and it's evolved over time. It wasn't always, like this. I mean, I built it, but then I changed it, and then I modified it. And where do these frogs come from? Guess we can turn these fountains back on. They were just stopped. They weren't really turned off. So these blocks were just holding back the water. Now they'll re-thingy. Those fountains were also added later, and their mechanism has also improved over time. It wasn't always like that. Just like this little tunnel right here, this is how I go in if I want to actually stop the water. This is where I start and stop it if I want to stop it, but it's easier to do that. This wasn't always here. Now to restart the water is really easy. As long as the water is flowing, it flows. And these are the minimums waters that is required for these to work. The other thing is just for show, but that's how I get them. Now up in this area, which is also hidden, and the reason because my granddaughter comes in here and messes with my stuff. But this is some of my stuff in some of my areas. But this is my private area, so no anything is supposed to be in here. There was 2 rooms up there, but I took them out. I figured, I only needed 4, and then these were actually out here, and I moved them in there. Just something to do. Where's my paint? I need to fix that. I don't know why that's broken. Paint. No, that's so I can spawn animals and stuff. Nope, that's not it. It's in one of these. And this is books. It's in one of these. Can't be in this one. This one's all food. Oh, this is them right there. Take. This is how you spawn paintings. And then there's another, and then there's a side mode where you put in, I think, a difficulty, and if you're peaceful, then the Endermans and the witches and the zombies and all that won't spawn in here because of that small little detail. It's something else you can do. Oh, you don't put those in there. Not really. See. Nope. It must be in this one because it's not in that one. But like I said, these were all out there before initially. And I don't need to store these things in the only thing I really need to store in these thingies is food. But it's easier than to sometimes get it out of these, especially this stuff. This stuff I have actually taken from the skeletons and some of the zombies that have had it. This is if you want to spawn a pig. This is if you want to spawn a rabbit. This is if you want to spawn a chicken. This is if you want to build a fence. This is the wheat after it's been harvested. This is coal. This is raw copper. I don't know what that is. This is a bow, of course. This is a shovel. This is a helmet. When you're in survival mode, you know, those things come in handy. Right now, this is the only way in or out of my building that ain't blocked off some other way. And that's to keep my granddaughter from playing with my stuff. Because she has a building here too. See, and there's kind of like, there's an inner fountain, there's this inner fountain, and then there's outer fountain, and then they come down here at the bottom where they come together. And then, see, if they all came together like they're supposed to, then this thing wouldn't, there would be one spot there missing and one spot there missing. But because of those blocks, and this block missing and this block missing, the water actually flows where I want it to flow. This glass wasn't always here. This is like another thing I just recently added. Because these were all walls initially, and then I figured I was learning as I was going. I mean, I learned a little bit from my grandsons, but they didn't teach me everything. So I learned a little bit as I went, and then I made this, you know, glass instead of, you know, this. So it was stone before, and I took that all out and put this in. And these are passageways, because outside passageways, because the inside doesn't really have room for classrooms. So I'm in the process of building this dormitory building behind the primary building. That has formed over time. Now this building is kind of interesting, because you'll notice that if you get high enough, it's snowing. Well, I did have it less elaborate when it started, but the water would freeze. So I made it more elaborate to keep the water from freezing, because it will freeze. I'll show you how that works exactly. Starts in water. Let it flow for a minute on the roof. Might take a minute, but it'll start freezing. We'll come back in a minute and see it as ice. Well, none's forming yet. It might take it a minute. But like I said, this building was initially a mountain, and so this fountain has also evolved over time. And it's changed a lot since it was first conceived. Right now, these access points are the only access points besides the main access points here, in and out of here, which is why they're here. This is where, if I build those other areas with, you know, build the pumpkins and the other stuff, that's where these will probably go, because they have to be grown a different way than the front ones. And the fountains, as you can see, you can pass through it. This fountain also goes out and goes outside and goes out to the water. Unless I closed it off, I don't think I did. Let me see. But this building was over water. It's over water, so there's water. There's water. There was water underneath it, but I took it out, I think. Let's see. Is this it? I don't recall. But this area, I was supposed to be for fish, but I think it's some of the areas downgraded. I know there's an access point, or there was. Unless it was that one I moved over here. No, that can't be right. Over here at the side of the building, right here. Yeah. I might have moved it. Okay, follow this back. Okay. So we gotta go under the primary building and in here, and then this is where the water comes out. You gotta go in one of these. These is made like that so the fish can go in and out. And then this is where the water comes out for that fountain. Right under there is where I don't want to take this block out, but that goes into the fountain. This has evolved over time to allow, you know, for fish to come in here. Kind of a midshift little area, which I work on it every once in a while. This is under the main building. That's probably why I didn't figure it out at first. So this building is actually built over the water. Of course, this whole area was a little bit more watery area. I had to stop the water from flowing on numerous occasions. See, that's snow right there. These are storage blocks because my grandkids, you know, still play this. Has any of these formed into, well, still hasn't formed into ice. Maybe it hasn't been long enough, or we just haven't been in the area long enough. And a combination of one of my grandsons and one of my granddaughters built these facilities over here. I built the outer shell of this because it's all dirt. This is a dirt wall. Initially there was just a building inside with a bunch of animals running around it, but now it's evolved over time, and now it's what it is today. Now it's this, just like there's a secret entrance right here. I think this hallway's too long. I mean, they could have moved this secret entrance activation thing to the first or second block, and then they'd have all this room to play around in. I don't know how this mechanism works, so I can't explain how it works. I just know that it does. I know a little bit about how it works. These are some sort of plungers that open when you step on these little things, and then you step on those at this end, which activates it. The rest of it I'm not 100% sure about. My one grandson knows more about that than me. See, there's stuff that I still don't even know. This little pool, I guess they just made, and then they built this underground structure here. I had nothing to do with any of this, so this is all them. And I guess this is as far as they've been. these are furnaces. And in the game, when you if you kill an animal in the game and you need to cook it, that's where you cook it at. It's in one of those furnaces. There's also a blast furnace, but it just gets hotter, but they basically work the same way. I don't have any in my building yet because I haven't got around to building them that yet, but they do exist. And these markers in this game are to mark this spot. Now, this is big open world. You can pretty much go anywhere you want, but there's not a map. You have a way to make a map. I'm still working on that. I don't know how to make a map, but if you leave your area too far, you will get lost. So you have to make markers until you figure out where you are and how to get back, or you will get lost. See, whenever you sleep on a bed, or you build an anchor, it's an anchor. And then you will, if you die, you will go back to wherever that was. That's what I had to do to find my way back one time. So I'm a little bit more cautious about leaving. I guess it's not going to turn to but it does. I don't know why it's not. It's probably because thingies. But it does turn to snow. Those little ports I showed in the last thing, I closed them up because water was going down and falling into snow. These I just added when I added that second breathing pipe. I added that second smokestack. Only one really works. See, and this is the top of that fountain right here. But it's all enclosed like this to keep it from freezing. Now initially these were roofs. As I made the building another roof higher, I think this is the first roof. And the building, I'm not going to show all of the little secret passages, but there are a lot of secret passages and pockets in it. So the building has, has a lot of secrets. Has a lot of secret areas, a lot of secret chambers. But I think this is the first floor. And you can get to these by this elevator shaft, which goes to all the other floors. You just have to go over to go down. And they're not straight because of the fountain. They had to accommodate the fountain. But these little areas right here, because this right here I think is where the fountains are. So this was built like that to accommodate the fountains. And then up here is another little area that's not being used at the moment, and it's about the same. I think there's 3 in all. Well, 4 if you count the new one, which I haven't made access to yet. Actually, I did make access to it, just not from here. You have to go up here and then over here, and then it's right here. Although, I probably should make access to it at a lower level. Maybe that's something I'll work on. Let's see, what is this? That's too far. Try here. Huh. Maybe over 1. this is the main roof, and then I just covered it. And that was to get rid of the snow. So it's covered with one layer of water, and all I had to do was start the water around the edges. That's all that the water is around all the edges, and then it flows in the middle. There might be some in the middle, I'm not sure, but mostly it's around the edges. Let's see, where does this go? Huh. Well, theoretically, I guess I could access it from here when I don't want the water in here, so that's why that's like that. So I could do that, I suppose. Until I figure something more permanent. This area was the roof. There's other secret passages, and there's other areas. Right now, this is the only way in or out of this top area for the time being. But see, one of these smokestacks is really a smokestack. I think it's this middle one here. Yeah, this middle one right here. This is a real smokestack. See? The smoke just doesn't come all the way up. Normally, to boost that, I put in fire, I put some more fires in. These three are dummies. This is the back of the building. This is the front of the building. Of course, that's obvious because of the fountains. So I don't know what else to show on this particular part. These were all trees. I took them all out to make this all level. This was a rockety terrain like that over there. So, and I put this fence around it because occasionally there's animals that spawn in here. These are not my animals. And there is an underground. It's evolved over time too. This goes to that same other area over here. This is just where it goes out to the water. See this area right here. I'm still debating on what I'm doing in this area. I don't know whether I want to close this area off or not. So I'm still, if I did build a wall, it would probably be from this wall all the way over to here, and then maybe all the way over here. It's hard to say exactly. And I was going to put some boats and add a little harbor here. There was boats in there, but the thing keeps spawning. That's a dead fish. There's another thing my granddaughter did. She spawned a bunch of animals that go around killing the fish. I don't know. That's not one of them. That's a fish. Let's see. These things right here. They kill fish. And she spawned a bunch of those. So I'm gonna have to go through and kill all those to replant fish. And no, this isn't solid. This is some of it in areas is hollow. It would take way too long for me to have made it that way. But I decked out this area. I was thinking about working on building another area on the other side just like this, but I have to finish taking out the mountain that was there. And yes, there was a mountain there. It was a lot higher too. So, this was all mountainy area. This was a mountain right here. This has been chopped down over time. I don't know if these trees were here or whether they planted or whether they were planted after. I didn't plant them. The game would have just planted them. But there are water pockets like this all over the place that had to be removed. And these are the ones that you can't just, put a block here and it'll stop. No, these ones you have to fill in to stop them, because you don't know where the starting block was. But eventually, all of this will be leveled out and down. And I don't know if I'm going to go over as far as I did with the other side. I was only planning on coming over to here at the very minimum. I don't know if I'm going to extend over or not, because this is that water I built. I made it a little straighter, so it's not so jaggedy, but. And I'm going to replant trees back in here, and yes, you can plant trees. It's not hard. See, when you tear down a tree, like this tree right here, the game doesn't like you to leave these hanging. So once you accidentally break one of these, you have to get rid of all of it. I didn't see it. It's interesting. I didn't see it appear, but usually a seedling will appear and then you plant that. I don't know, maybe it's the tree's not old enough. But I have seedlings. Not gonna show them, but this will eventually all be replanted as trees. But like I said, it was ruggedy, and I made it all more level. So I took and if the trees were accidentally like broken, I took them all out, because I don't like the trees not working right or not looking right. However they grow is however I leave them. And if I accidentally am working right here and I accidentally, these doesn't matter. These are just vines. They'll probably grow back. It's part of the leaves. So I don't know what else to show, but you can just see that building took at least 3 months of working on it, at least 8 to 10 hours a day for a couple of months. So it took a minute to build. And then when I thought I lost it, I created this world. But it was really with the PlayStation Plus, you get online storage, and it was automatically set to upload to my storage and update. So every once in a while, so it went there. Another thing I didn't know about it first, and then I learned, and then I downloaded it again, and it was a little behind where I was. Now, this right here was a village, okay? And I started building a similar building in the village. So here's the building that I started building. This hallway was 3 blocks wide, and I opened these up so you can see the fountain in these front classrooms. Because this I kind of built more as a school, and those other buildings out there are more or less houses, and the dorms and stuff are out that way. They're not in the building. These are all classrooms, and I didn't start over again with this, so that's why they're still here. This is the basement. I recently built this, and we have a lake well, not really a lake, but a pretty good deep river behind us, so we can't go any further back. So it's not the same size as the building. And this is a tunnel. We'll explain that more about those tunnels later. This is a tunnel, but it's part of the structure. These little buildings right here are duplicated on every floor. See, you come up here, this is the main floor, see, and there's a back area, but the reason why this is sitting over water, so there is water underneath us, at least 2 blocks down, and most of the walls are at least a block. No, they're 2 blocks. I wasn't sure. But then I built all of this, which took me a few months to build. And this is kind of like a midshift area to come through to the cafeteria. This is going to be a cafeteria eventually. And I don't know how to figure out the stair issue yet, so I built these midshift elevator shafts. And these are all pretty much the same. I think the building's like 4 floors in total, not counting the basement. And they're pretty much all the same. This right here is my bees. The reason why there's 2 doors here is to keep the bees from getting out into the main building. And you can harvest the honey. You can see that the honey is forming in these 2 hives, and somehow the bees fit in those little openings. I don't know how they do it. Initially, before I started building outside the box, the bees were allowed outside, but that has changed. But in case I ever let them outside, I put windows instead of, plugging the holes. But you can see that and yes, they used to go in and out of those during the daytime. But now they have this. And on the roof of my building garden, and you look at it on the bright side, it rains a lot in this game, especially this one, and they get to harvest all these flowers whenever they want, as much as they want, all day, all night if they want. This is kind of a midshift. What do you call it? And then that keeps the bees out of here. They're allowed to go everywhere else but here. I was gonna make this a little bigger, but nah. So that the bees could pass through there, maybe some ceiling things, but I don't know. And then down here is where the water fountain is. This was smaller. It's gotten wider over time. These are the tunnels, well, the sky bridge now over to these buildings. And right now, at the moment, this is the only way besides the basement to access these buildings. Now these buildings, these 2 tall ones right here, are approximately 20 floors. This one has 1 elevator in it, and this one over here has 2 elevators. I kind of just built it that way. I really wasn't thinking when I was building it. The tunnels were built first, and I think, and then these were built second. And then just like in the other area, this is my area. See, in this one I have 2 fireplaces. This fireplace here, and this fireplace here. And then in one of these rooms is my room with a smaller little doodad. I don't let my granddaughter play on this level. That's why there's access to the to this area. So she doesn't play on this world. I don't let her play on this world. she likes to break things too. And this is a midshift elevator. This goes to all the floors except for the basement. And here's some carrots, and then here's the watermelons. See, the watermelons need space to grow. So you plant them here, and then you leave this space or that space open for them to grow to. Because otherwise they don't grow. So you can't have them, row by row by row by row by row like you can the other plants. You have to have them have these little rows with nothing in between them so that they grow. And yes, I did experiments with that to make that determination. Nobody told me that. I learned that on my own. But as you can see, this is one, and it skips one, and then another one. And then every one of these plants is practically growing a watermelon. Every one of them is growing a watermelon. This is the plant right here that we're standing on. Well, we're flying over, actually. So we're flying. So you can't do this in survival mode or adventure mode. You can only do this in this. These two plants aren't growing because they've grown to the extent. Now these watermelons are done. And now they won't grow no new watermelons until I've harvested the old watermelons. These are coarse potatoes. And since I started not needing running into the zombies, I leave these doors open. These are the beetroot and these are the pumpkins, which also have to grow the same way as the others. This initially over here was farmland, and I had cows over here, but then I decided, well, maybe we'll up it a little bit. So I'm thinking about, I don't know about this bottom floor, but these upper floors, I might put some chickens up here after I resurface this and put dirt, and so on all the way up. And this also has contact with the main building. But there is no roof yet, so I'm thinking about putting bees up here too. I just haven't done it yet. So this is the main building. See, this is water. We're actually in it. It goes down into this fountain area. It used to go through, but there's I took out that ability, and there's actually two fountains. There's a space between them. That's why you see they look like a little different than normal. And the greenhouses have also evolved over time. These greenhouses over here were built. This right here is the only original building still here from when this was a town. It's been modified a little bit. There was like a little side thing like this, kind of around these windows, kind of give them depth. I took that out because I wanted them to look like the back windows. These are smaller windows, not the big squares. You see, these ones are whole squares. There's also half square windows, and that's what they was. There was a roof here, but I took it out. I don't know if I'm going to take this one out or not. I'm still thinking about it. I mean, the water really doesn't need to run on that, but then it doesn't, just disappears. But these have internal water systems, that's why. This building was 3 buildings. I combined them to be one. This building right here has a roof over it, and water, and this is here to keep the zombies out. But that was before I figured out how to put the game into peaceful mode, another mode, so that they don't spawn in here anymore. So I don't have zombies, endermans, the whole 9 yards. And then this was a Midshift grocery store. That's filled with water. looks like we have visitors. Hi, Mr. Fox. And this is water behind. This is something I just recently added. The water flows from the top one into this one and then flows into the garden out back, which we'll go see in a minute. But I don't know how to build shelves yet for the grocery store, so every one of these chests has a different item in it. Like this one right here has raw pork in it. This one has raw mutton in it. This one has raw chicken in it. This one has raw beef in it. This one has raw rabbit in it. This one, of course, has fish. This one has bakery goods. This one has sweet berries. This one has wheat. This one has beetroot. This one has potatoes. This one has carrots. This one has watermelon. This one has a few pumpkins. Although there are no pumpkins here, so I don't know why those pumpkins would be here. And this is just miscellaneous because I don't know what to put in these. So once in a while, don't want to obliviate something, I put it in these. He's supposed to represent a store clerk, and this is a miscellaneous thing behind him. Now, as in the other video, we do have villagers in here. Looks like they've been closing my doors, because I keep leaving these doors open and they keep closing them. I had a villager the other day who got trapped in my underground, so I had to block all this off. It looks like he found his way out because I didn't execute him like I could have. But this is the rooms that are finished mostly, and this is where the villagers are. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sometimes I sleep in this bed. Now my set point is here. See how it says respawn point? So if I die, I will respawn here. It ain't morning. Oh, maybe it is because I slept. These are those blast furnaces and furnaces. This right here is an underground water thing. This has evolved over time. It was a little pond behind a little building, and then that building was taken out and subsequently thingy. We'll see the other side of that in a minute. And I thought that, you know, these would be kind of cool to have these trapdoors in the bottom of these the trapdoors to keep them from falling in the water. And they only use one of these doors. I'm the only one that uses both. I didn't want them in these buildings, so there was 2 doors here, but I took them out. And then I was rebuilding the underground right here, and I think I'm still working on it. And I modified this house and this house right there for 2 floors, and I've been rebuilding the underground. And that's to keep them out of the underground. I don't need them accidentally falling into the underground. And this is the underground. I was working on this the other day. I don't know if I got it completely finished. I think there was some more things I needed to do. I'm not sure. It looks mostly done. So I might have finished it. Just barely last night. Because I redid these. I made this room bigger by by taking out several layers of thing. And then I have to build building supports coming down from like right here. I think this is where it would be. Oh, that's why it ain't here. Because it would block my tunnel. No, this tunnel, since how this tunnel is here, this tunnel really doesn't need to be here. So maybe I can take this tunnel out, because this tunnel really doesn't need to be here. Because this tunnel was here first, and then I built this tunnel, and then these tunnels, and so on and so on. And then see, there's that water from the other side of the glass. And here's that first building. Right now, this is the only way to access these buildings, because they don't have doors on the main floors. But the whole underground is, all the buildings are basically connected through an underground structures. These are other buildings which we haven't visited yet. This is another building which we haven't visited yet. For some strange reason, this idiot and his llamas keep spawning in my buildings. He's in the wall somewhere. He spawned in the wall. We don't want the villagers going down there or falling down there, and they're not the smartest thing in the smartest match in the pack. This was built like this to keep the zombies out, but the two buildings are connected. This is the only way to access these buildings, is through the main through the other building. There's no other way to access it. And then the only way to access the other building, like I said, is through the tunnel, because it's not in line with this one. So this is the only way in or out at the moment. And then this building, the only way you can access it is either the tunnel or the skywalk up there. And there's the buildings from the outside. I forget how many floors these are, but I just counted those ones yesterday, and they're about 20 floors. These buildings, two buildings right here, are supposed to be the dormitories. This one right here is, although we're not going to have like the classes that we had in Harry Potter. This one simply, one of them, this one over here is going to be like the girls' dormitory, and this is going to be the boys' dormitory. And then these are these two buildings here are office buildings. These are generalized parents where they can stay while their kids attend the school. But they don't necessarily live in this village, but at least that was the initial plan. And you can see that it was a town. There were normal houses. And then this right here is a marker / transmitter array. Those I think are supposed to be little cell towers, although there's no cells here. Now this world is a little bigger than the other worlds. This one has multiple things in it. Now, providing we don't get lost, we're not going to do the other thing like we did last time. But there's markers up here. See over there, this is a standardized town. This is what the town looks like before it was modernized. so I don't get turned around. But that's kind of a mid-shift look of the town. And all I did was put a marker here because I was gonna, if my granddaughter ever wanted to play in this world, this is where she would play at that town. So now, before we get turned around, we come back to the main array. This is a secondary array, and it's built massive like that as a marker, because the idea is that before you, as you get close, as you leave this one, the other one should appear right there before that one vanishes. So that's how they're built. And I can't go any faster than this, and I can't be too high, or I can't go very fast. The higher you are, the slower you go. So before that one disappears in the background, see there's another town right there. Oh, that's the main town. Wow, we got here a little quicker than I thought. And then see here, I built another building with another marker. There's other towns towards the sides and stuff. I haven't done a lot to this town other than build the building, but this is kind of how the other building started. I started with a building, started building these greenhouses, modernized this, and this is the Midshift town that was here. The buildings are still here, although you will notice that this is the way the roofs were. This is the way the roofs were redone because of I was trying to protect the townspeople from the zombies, so I would use my bucket of lava and dump it on them, and as a result, since how these are wood, they caught fire. This was just modified. There is one townspeople left. Now see, this, the only thing that sucks about that lava there, you get an empty bucket and you scoop it up, and then you put it in the bottom of one of these L2, so you open it, so you put the food that you want to cook right there. I don't have any. And then you put this right there like that. Oops, you're not right there. Now we'd have to go find some food. He probably won't give up any meat. I have to go find a cow. Cows are easier. Well, horses doesn't give you any meat anyway. Yeah, he just gave up leather. These aren't animals that I've spawned. These are animals that have spawned. But if some little kid watches this game or watches this thingy and watches that, you know, animals get killed every day and we eat them. That's what they're there for. Whoops, wrong switch. So we want to now this is raw. Okay. We put it in this furnace. And now the furnace is working. It's now cooking the food. It is now cooked. Problem is the bucket's now empty. So you got to refill the bucket. I don't think now that the furnace is running, I think you can cook as much as you want to. So the fire is going now, so you can see that it's going now. The blast furnaces work the same way. See, now the fire is there. And you take that empty bucket and you scoop it in there and you make it work. See, this is left open intentionally with fire in it, and there's a smokestack that goes up because these do generate some sort of smoke, although you never see it. Which is what this is for. But this isn't the way the building used to look. The building used to look a lot different. But that's what that's for. Oops. Guess we're gonna have to go out and fix that. But that's a demonstration of how the furnaces work. This right here was a well. I don't know if I took the water out or put the water back, but all the water is gone. Well, maybe we'll just take, I don't know if I'll take out the well or not, but we'll make sure the villager doesn't fall down it until I decide what I'm going to do. So little by little I replaced theirs with these, but I left most of theirs intact. So it had wood around it. I removed the wood and put blocks, and I just modified theirs. They pretty much like they were. This is how they are small like this, and I just put, you know, the blocks around it. The villager that actually was here, he actually worked in them. So let's see if we can find it. Villagers. We can spawn some more villagers. Here's the eggs. Chickens, bees, cows, pigs, sheep, wolves, polar bears, whatever that is, a cat, a mushroom, a bat. What do you mean a mushroom? Moon, a rabbit, a llama, a skeleton, a silverfish, see, an enderman, a creeper, a fox, a panda, a sea turtle, a dolphin, a salmon, a pufferfish, a cod, so on, zombie, horse. A zombie, we don't want no zombies. A husk, whatever that is. Whatever that is. Drowned. We don't need a witch. A guardian. Oh, here we are. What's a vix? Elker? What the fuck is an elker? A blaze, whatever that is, a tadpole. Okay, well here's a villager. I also found out when you ring these bells, they go to their certain selective houses. This house, I think I modified this. Wow. These don't need what do you call it? Because if they need to make food, they can either come and pick it, or they can go to that centralized area, because this is basically a centralized area. So this is like a Midshift cafeteria or cafe or whatever you want to call it, and crafting stations, because you craft here, and as you can see, they sit here and eat. So this is where they would eat or whatever. So they don't really need that. I'm making it in my other building because that's what I'm not making one of those. But you can see that they quickly found a way into the thing. So what we're going to do here, I don't want them coming into my building. And they do get curious, and they will come. But this will keep them out. And you can see that their smoke does come out of this because it's high enough. The chimney's not so high that they can't come out. These are two Midshift elevators I haven't yet to build. These are some sort of beacons. I haven't figured out how to work them yet. And this is an antenna. I think there's supposed to be an underground coupler that comes over here and transmits from this building to the building way over there, to the first town. Wow, they're all out. Now the farmer one with the yellow hat here, he should find his way here. This right here is a compost. They put dead things in there and it helps, and then they use it as some sort of midship fertilizer. And I did build myself a little beehive up here. It was in town, but there really wasn't no room for it. So I moved it here, and I moved the flowers here. And yes, I made that and spawned the bees. Although there are bees in the game somewhere. They're just not living in a house. Usually they're hanging from a tree or miscellaneous. I didn't count how many villagers there was, but I did spawn a few, so now they can see there's wow, he's actually working. See, figured he would. Uncle, get back to work. I'm just checking up on you, making sure you're not doing anything stupid. I guess they're checking this place out. See, the other facility was like this once. It had stairs and doors, stairs and doors, stairs and doors, and then I got sick of it. So I took the stairs out, put in one big stair, and then opened it all up and added everything together. So it eventually, I might build this all in and make this all a centralized area. But before I do that, I'll probably extend this greenhouse out another one to at least make it even with this one. So this walkway will probably be taken out, and another row of stuff will be here. Let's see, that one's 1, 2, 3. This one's 1, 2, and 1, 2. So yeah, I could add a third one, I guess. Potatoes are really good. And I can always add more of these in another area, and another beetroot. And I probably should make one of these into carrots. See, oh, because I made one of theirs into carrots. That's right, I made one of theirs into carrots. So it looks like these villagers, they seem to be fitting in a little easier than the last ones. There is a couple other towns along the way, but I'm not gonna show them. I showed the one, they're basically untouched. This one and the other one are the only two that I'm currently doing anything with. The other ones I visit from time to time and do a little bit here and there, but I ain't, rebuilding the town. This one, I'm not really rebuilding the town either. I was going to start rebuilding the town after the villagers all died off, but because I was able to bring the villagers back, then I don't. These pathways were all originally like this. I came through here like this, took these out, and did this. But we won't do that and that. We'll just make that grass. So, and I don't know what I'm going to do with that. Probably nothing at the moment. And I planted these flowers around this house. I don't remember why. But sometimes looks like these villagers are moving right in. See, when I started rebuilding the other one, I didn't know how to spawn villagers. I didn't even know spawning villagers was a thing, and then I recently found it and figured I'd respawn the villagers when I got the other town built where I wanted it. It looks like these villagers are really checking the place out. The other ones, I don't know. Maybe the building is too intimidating. These ones are little and they're just recently growing. That's why they haven't grown watermelon yet. The stairs are more or less for them, or if I decide to go into survival mode. See, I don't know how long the video has been so long, but I really didn't mean to make it this long, but I went into greater detail with this to see if people are interested in to know what the buildings are like. This is what the town is like. I don't know what else to add or what else to say, but you know, we could spawn some more villagers, I guess. We need some more. Let's see. Alright, get to work. I just hope there's enough houses for all of them. I really didn't count that. See, this house down here hasn't even been messed with. I don't know what this is or what. Oh, it's a saw. See, it's still here. This is it in its entirety. This was here. A lot of the buildings haven't been added to or messed with. How do I get down here? I forgot. There's no path down there. Might have to build one. Might have to take down this tree and put in some stairs going down. Take out this so that, because there's no connection between that area and that area over there. So might have to build some stairs. There's some midshift stairs. There, now that's connected to this little house over here, and these stairs connect this to theirs. And to make them a little bit better, we go like this. See, these need backing or they don't form right. Can't be willy-nilly, so there. Wow, there's two people in here. Huh. Interesting. I'm gonna have to see how many's in this one. Oh, just one so far. They're gonna have to build more houses. Or I miscounted somewhere. Okay, there's one there, one there, one there, one there. Okay, this house is full. Well, I guess you're getting a roommate. Enjoy. First of all, before we can do that, whoops. Oops, again. Yes, you're getting a roommate, I'm sorry. No butts. Butts for ashtrays. Oops. Okay, his bed is yellow, so yellow. Green. Oops. Okay. For now. There. Okay, one of you two in this room. There. Okay, there's one of the crises averted. We still got these two to build a house for. This house ain't big enough. This house ain't big enough. This house is barely big enough. Huh. Well, this one's big enough. I mean, it's bigger than the other houses, which is why I did the two. Let's see here. I don't know if the house would look good there. Huh. This is still a house, right? Yep, somebody's in it too. Okay. Well, what we could do is we could make this into a house. We can take all this junk out. now my set point is here. Okay, so he found this one. Okay, and another one, and then we can build that saw somewhere else. But for now, that gives 2 more rooms for the people. We still need one for him. Yeah, see, I can move that saw over here or somewhere, because this is basically, I can extend this out without, you know, I mean, I'd have to redo the roof and to make the building bigger, but I could make this into a centralized building, so, you know, they can saw or whatever they need to do. I just don't know where to build another house that might not be too bad without, you know, compromising too much of the village. I don't know if I want to let him sleep in my building or not. Because see, I can always enter my building through the Midshift back area like this. I don't need to go in through the front, so I can come in like this. And then I can go to the second floor. And then up to my floor. This should be it right here. Yeah, I haven't done a lot of work here yet, but wow, those are narrow as all get out. Might have to make this wall, may have to move this wall out one more, so I can put these chests in there. But you can see this area is really small. I gotta go all the way back to the other area because I don't want my set point to be here. The difference with this one, I think, is this it? I don't know. I'm all turned around. Nope. Yeah, see, that's the conduit going up the back area here. That comes in from there. You'll notice I use cobblestone for my conduits until I actually have a conduit. how much these were increased. I think this one was increased clear to the ceiling. Now it is 320. Wow, would they do increase it? I think it was 200 and something else before. I'll measure it later. But that pretty much does it for show and tell. Although, you know, you saw me spin. There was one villager in this town, and you watched me spawn a bunch of others. I'm gonna have to come back and figure out an area, maybe right here, even if it means taking out these torches and building, you know, maybe another house right here in this little area right here. I'll have to come back and do that, I guess. But it looks like the villagers are settling in nicely. They're settling in a lot nicer than the other ones. The ones started planting and harvesting, so you know, that's pretty cool. Because the original villagers were all wiped out by the zombies. So it's nice that these ones are settling in. And as you can see, before I get too far out of town, I'll have to come back and fix these later. See, these could be considered relay points between the two towns. And they're not very far away. I thought they were a lot further, but I guess I got turned around that one day, which is one of the reasons why I put these here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Because there's another, no, maybe there ain't. I know there's a village over there, and I think there's one more over here somewhere. And there are bees in this top. There's going to be bees over there, but these villagers, you know, they don't seem to be patching into a routine yet, but those ones seem to blend right in. I don't know, maybe they just need time. We'll give them some time. I guess I can go back into my building and reset my spawning point. Nope, not it. Nope, not it. It. mean I can't sleep right now? Well, then I can't fix my respawning point till nighttime. Good grief. Probably be nighttime in a little bit. I just don't want to respawn over there. Did it at least change my respawning point? I didn't notice. Let me try again. Okay, it's set. I don't need to wait. Okay, respawning point has been reestablished. It's here. I have anchors, I think. That's the basement. Where's the other way out of here? Guess I can take those off. I just didn't want him to. I wanted the other one to leave. So I scared him out. Well, I didn't really scare him, but I flooded the tunnels to make him come this way. And then I got him up here and then kind of closed that off. But they can go in the basement. It's just not a big deal. And there is a downstairs. It was something. I was letting my granddaughter use it as a midshift whatchamacallit, but we took all that out. So it's actually 3 floors in all if you count the basement. And that is still a work in progress, and I think that's about it. Back here, I was initially, was going to build something back here, but then I was doing some experiment. I'm going to see how this goes, but I planted grass along this row right here. And that's it. The rest is grown on its own. And then just so it doesn't have to work all the way, I planted it at this end too. Now I'm going to see how long it takes the grass to grow, here. Initially there was grass here, but then there was a bunch of endermans, and I don't know about endermans, but creepers and freaking zombies back here. So I just released the lava and flooded this entire area with lava. So it burnt all the grass out now, and then it stayed burnt, and now it's kind of growing back. But this back area, I don't know what I'm going to do with it yet, unless I decide to make this into a midshift pasture instead of making this building into a pasteurized building. I don't know, unless I decide to let the animals out to here to graze. This right here, I was just going through and getting rid of all the clay and the other stuff, and leaving the blocks. It was kind of interesting how much clay there was in this area. But I think oh nope, I missed some right there. That's kind of clay. Oh, more clay. That's what I was doing with this area, and until I get all the clay out of it, mostly out of the area, we'll see where the clay goes. kind of what I've been doing, seeing where the clay goes. And then I don't know what I'm going to do with that on the flip side or what. So I think that's about it. So I'm going to play Red Dead after this and see if anybody wants to watch this video. I'm going to post it to Facebook, and for anybody who is new to the channel, like and subscribe, or at least subscribe. I mean, if you don't want to like it, I don't care. Subscriptions help the channel. They help YouTube, you know, to where they see that I have more subscribers. Until I get 1,000, I won't even be making any money off of any of this. And then I'll have to start really, you know, making more videos. But until I get to 1,000, I won't be making a lot of videos. But as I get more subscribers, I'll make more videos. So if you want to help the channel, tell your friends. Have them subscribe to the channel. The more subscribers I have, the more chances of me making more and more videos. And these are the two smokestacks, which actually are real smokestacks. These are just stacks. They don't really go anywhere. They just have these fireplaces right here. Just so you can, from a distance you can see that there's smoke, and you don't know that they're not coming from the smokestacks that are actually live. And I was thinking about building a cave over here, and I'm still thinking about it, but I have done some preliminary clean out in this area right here, and you know, seeing what I'm going to do with it. But this is about it. So if you just came in and you want to see the entire thing, gotta watch the video from the beginning. If you aren't, like I said, if you aren't subscribed, at least subscribe. Subscriptions cost absolutely nothing. They're just a thing to tell YouTube that somebody likes your content. And the more subscribers you get, the closer you get to actually getting actual money from it. If they put ads in this, I don't get none of that revenue until I have more than 1,000 subscribers. And these buildings are not all level. I can see that. That's why the skywalks were made the way they can thingy, where they line up. But instead of building a great big building, I built this immense town, which, like I said, it started out as a town. The other place started out as a mountain. This was a town, and pretty much like the other town that I showed halfway through the video. So there you go. You can just see that I put a lot of work into both areas. Made one into one big building. This one I made into a bunch of slightly smaller buildings, but ultimately they're still massive as a whole. And then these are transmitters. This one is like transmitting from here to the other one. I just haven't built anything from my actual building to where there's a midshift, so there's not a transmitter in the building yet. I haven't built that yet. I'm still working on it. But I guess I could do it from the towers, because these buildings right here are 20 floors high, and they're pretty much besides their obvious height are identical, except for this one's got only one elevator shaft in it and this one has two. I built this one first with 2 in it, and I kind of, kind of went a little crazy with the second one, but I didn't see the need to. But then when I tried to build this one, couldn't build the 2 in there, so I suppose I could put it right here, but it would be one large undertaking to put a secondary elevator in it, so I'm not gonna. I figure that you need some way to tell the buildings apart. They're not exactly the same height either, but that's because they weren't built, in the same height of area. They were built in. This one was built slightly higher, and this one over there was built slightly lower. So I think that's everything, and hope to see you in the next video. So long for now.